Africa has been hit. We've been set back about 25 years in terms of the progress that we've seen in the economy. 150 million more people will be thrown into poverty, 40% of them in Africa, according to figures from the World Bank. And the IMF is projecting a slower recovery for Africa, 3.4% growth in 2021 compared to 6% for the world. So these are the factors we need to look at. Now, coming to what trade and the WTO can do, I think there are two factors again. On the health side, trade can really be and will be instrumental in trying to get access to medical products, therapeutics, diagnostics, and vaccines to people on the continent. And as we urge countries to share immediately the excess vaccine doses they have, this is also important. But, President Steinmeier mentioned that Europe has been exporting the most with respect to vaccines. How these vaccines, medical equipment, and so on get around is through trade. People do not know that even as trade in goods shrank by 7% in value last year, trade in medical supplies and equipment increased by 16%, and personal protective equipment 50%. That means that trade was really helping to get goods around the world from those who didn't have to those, from those who had supplies to those who didn't have access, and including on the African continent. So with respect to recovery, we hope to be able to play that role of moving the necessary goods and equipment around for medical access to medical supplies. Secondly, I'd like to say that there was the issue of manufacturing of vaccines, for instance. The WTO has been working very closely trying to talk to manufacturers to support the manufacture of vaccines on the continent. There is some capacity that could be mobilized in several countries, from Morocco, Tunisia to South Africa, that could be mobilized now and turned around to produce more. There is investment that can be done in future in Senegal, as we talked about, to produce more vaccines and other types of medical supplies. And working with manufacturers to make sure that supply chains are free is very, a very critical role that the WTO and trade can play. So that's one of the ways in which we can contribute. And we've been working with the WHO, other organizations and manufacturers to try to make this happen. I think the third aspect is trying to work on the issue of technology transfer and know-how. And as you know, there's a very, very big debate going on now at the WTO on the issue of waiver of intellectual property rights so that countries can have access to this for manufacture of vaccines. That's ongoing now. Even as we speak today, that debate is going on. And I hope we will come to a very pragmatic solution on the issue of IP, but also on transfer of technology. This is an area where the WTO can also work with manufacturers to contribute. So on three fronts, I think we can be instrumental in helping Africa on the health side. On the economic side, also, there are several areas that we can work. One of the things that the very good report, Reimagining Africa, that was done by McKinsey, pointed out is that reimagining manufacturing on the continent, it's very important that we be able to add more value to our products. It's very important that we try to attract industries that are not there, like the pharmaceutical industry, for example, where we are importing 99% of our vaccines and over 90% of other pharmaceuticals. So the WTO has an investment facilitation set of negotiations going. It has a trade facilitation agreement. All these are ways that when we implement them on the continent, we can really help to attract more investment into areas that need it, and also facilitate trade. We can support the issue of inclusion especially through the new digital economy, by working with micro, medium, and small enterprises and women to help get them upgrade the standards of their products. We're already doing some of that on the continent. We can scale this up and do so much more so they can break into regional supply chains and also global. This will help also more formalize the informal sector on the continent. And finally, we can work with and support the African Continental Free Trade Area to help strengthen it, to help build capacity there and help make sure that intra-African trade, as well as trade with the outside, becomes a factor that helps the African economy recover. Thank you.